It's always very disappointing to report a loss. I guess given the current situation we find ourselves in, it's probably not completely surprising. And if you look at the impairment charge, 2.1 billion in the quarter, 2.9 billion in the half. So those are some very important numbers. I guess as I look at the results, what gives me some comfort is that our profitability, pre-impairments was strong, slightly up on the prior year. We have an incredibly strong capital position, 17.2%, probably one of the strongest capital positions in the whole of Europe. That gives us and the board a lot of confidence as we sort of face into the situation that we're facing. So, although a big impairment number, not altogether unexpected, and the capital position I think is really critical.
I think the big question around impairments for investors is what the second half of the year is going to look like and whether we've seen peak provisions now. So you've recorded 2.9 billion. What do you expect for the second half of the year?
Yeah, so the guidance that we are giving to the market for the second half is to say that we'll take the charge for the year up to £3.5 to £4.5 billion. So that's an additional 0.6 to £1.6 billion. So significant numbers. In any half, you would expect us to have something like 400 million. The number would move around depending on different tall trees. I think what we've tried to do with our provision is to say, let's put on what we know today. And it's interesting when you look at our provision that 93% of it is on customers who are continuing to pay. So although they're in difficulty, they're still continuing to make payments. And the second half will be those customers where that becomes a struggle and they move to what we would call stage 3, and we start to kind of recognise the defaults. I think the big unanswered question for all of us is what do economics do over the next number of months, and that could also obviously have some impacts.
And let's talk about your restructuring efforts. To what extent has the pandemic hindered your efforts there? I see you're maintaining your cost-cutting target. Can you give us some guidance on your plans in terms of cost efficiencies?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think it's been really important that we continue to try to do the right things that we need to do for this business and not be put too far off course in terms of the pandemic. So while our cost reduction in the half was £41 million, a little bit lower than we would have hoped, what we can see as we move forward that there's really good traction coming in terms of our restructuring. One of the things that we've announced today is the exit of our London property, which we've accelerated from a plan that we had for a number of years. And I think it's really looking to see what are the opportunities that COVID has given us to kind of further accelerate on our cost efficiency.